play is called Downtown. It was written by Thornton and Wilder. In it you will see Miss Swanepoel, Baraki, Robillard, and Mr. Sherlock, Brown, and Stenzel, and many others. The name of the town is Grover's Corners. The first act shows the day in our town. The day is 7 May 1901. The time is just before dawn. The sky is beginning to show some streaks of light over in the east there, behind our mountain. The morning star always gets wonderful bright the minute before it has to go down, doesn't it? Well, I better show you how our town lies. Up here is Main Street. Way back there is the railway station. Tracks go that way. Polish towns across the tracks and some Canuck families. Over there is the Congregational Church. Across the streets the Presbyterians. Methodists and Unitarians are over there. Baptists is down by the hollow in the river. Oh, and Catholic Church is over beyond the tracks. Here's the town hall. And the post office combined. Jails in the basement. Along here's a row of stores, hitching posts and horse blocks in front of them. First automobile's gonna come along in about 5 years. Belong to Banker Cartwright, our richest citizen. Lives in a big white house up on the hill. Here's the grocery store, and here's Mr. Morgan's drugstore. Most everybody manages to look into those two stores at least once a day. Public school's over yonder. The whole town can hear the yelling from the schoolyards. This is our doctor's house, Doc Gibbs. This is the back door. There's some scenery for those of you who think they need scenery. This is Mrs. Gibbs's garden. Corn, peas, beans, hollyhocks, heliotrope. In those days, our newspaper came out twice a week, the Grover's Corner Sentinel. And this is Editor Webb's house. And this is Mrs. Webb's garden. Much like Mrs. Gibbs's over there, only it's got a lot of sunflowers too. And right here is a big butternut tree. Nice town. You know what I mean? Nobody very remarkable ever came out of it as far as we know. The earliest tombstones up in the cemetery there say Grovers and Cartwrights and Gibbses and Herseys. Same names as are around here now. Well, as I said, it's about dawn. The only lights on in town are over by the tracks where Polish mothers just had twins. Oh, and down at the depot where Shawty Hawkins is getting ready to flag the 545 for Boston. But town people sleep late. So, another day's begun. Oh, there's Doc Gibbs coming down Main Street now. And there's his wife coming downstairs to make breakfast. Doc Gibbs died in 1930. Mrs. Gibbs died first. Long time ago, in fact. She went out to visit her daughter, Rebecca. Died there. Pneumonia. But they brought her body back here. She's up in the cemetery there now. The whole mess of Gibbses and Herseys. In our town, we like to know the facts about everybody. There's Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to make breakfast. That's Doc Gibbs. Got that call at 1:30 this morning. Oh, and there comes Joe Crowell Jr. delivering Mr. Webb's Sentinel.
Good morning, Doc Gibbs.
Morning, Joe.
Somebody been sick, Doc?
No, just a pair of twins born over in Polish town.
Do you want your paper now?
Yes, I'll take it. Anything new happened in the world since Wednesday?
Well, yes, sir. My school teacher, Miss Foster's getting married to a fella over in Concord.
I declare, how do you boys feel about that?
Well, of course, it's none of my business. But I think if a person starts out to be a teacher, she ought to stay one.
How's it need, Joe?
Fine, Doc. I never think about it at all. Only like you said, it always tells me when it's going to rain.
What's it telling you to do? Going to rain?
No, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Knee ever made a mistake?
No, sir.
Jeez, Joe.
Want to tell you something about that boy Joe Crowell over there. Joe was awful bright. Gonna be an engineer, Joe was. But the war broke out. He died in France. All that education for nothing.
Giddy up, Bessie.
Oh, here comes Howard Newsom delivering the milk.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Howie.
Somebody sick?
No, just a pair of twins born over by Mrs. Gorsowski.
Twins, huh? Oh, this town's getting any bigger every year.
Going to rain, Howie?
No, fine day today. That'll burn through. Let's get going, Bessie.
Hello, Bessie. How old is she, Howie?
Going on 16. Bessie's all mixed up about the routes. Keeps calling me the whole trip.
Good morning, Howie.
Morning, Mrs. Gibbs. Doc's just coming down the street.
Is he? Seems like you're late today.
Yeah, something went wrong with the separator. Don't know what it was. Doc?
Howie?
Children, time to get up.
Get up, Bessie.
George, Rebecca. Everything all right, Frank?
Yes, I declare easy as kid.
Bacon will be ready in a minute. Sit down and drink your coffee. You can catch a couple hours sleep this morning, can't you? Oh, I declare, Frank, I do wish I could get you to go away someplace and take a rest. I think it'd do you good.
Children, Wally, Emily, it's time to get up.
I declare, you gotta speak to George. Seems like someone's come over him lately. He's no help to me at all. I can't even get him to cut me some wood.
Is he sassy to you?
No, he just whines. All he talks about is that baseball. George, Rebecca, you'll be late for school.
George, look sharp.
Yes, Pa.
Can't you hear your mother calling you? I guess I'll go upstairs and catch food and wings.
Wally, you wash yourself before I'll come up there and do it myself.
Mom, what dress shall I wear?
Don't make a noise. Your father's been out all night and needs his rest. I'll wash it on the blue floral for you special.
But Ma, I hate that dress.
What's up with you?
Every day I go to school dressed like a sick turkey.
Now, Rebecca, you always look very nice.
Mama, George is trying so damn
I'll
here.
slap the both of you. That's what I'll do.
George, you did throw so damn me. Mama, I promise. Stop it. Mama, you always does it.
We've got a factory in our town, too. Hear it?
Children, now I won't have it. Breakfast is just as good as any other meal, and I won't have you gobbling up like wolves. They don't stunt your growth, that's a fact. Put away your book, Wally.
Oh, Ma, at 10 o'clock, gotta know all about Canada.
You know the rules as well as I do. No books at the table. As for me, I'd rather have my children healthy than bright.
Oh, I'm both, Mama. You know I am. I'm the brightest girl in school for my age. I have a wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast.
I'm right too. When I'm looking at my stamp collection.
I'll speak to your father about it when he's rested. Seems to me 25 cents a week's enough for a boy your age. I declare I don't know how you spend it all.
Oh, Ma, I got a lot of things to buy.
Strawberry phosphates, that's what you spend it on.
I don't see how Rebecca comes to have so much. She has more than $1.
I've been saving it up gradually.
Oh, well, dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some every now and then.
Mama, do you know what I love most in the world? Do you? Money!
Eat your breakfast.
Mine the first well. I gotta hurry. Goodbye, Mom. For George is in elementary school.
Walk fast. You don't have to run.
Well,
Put your hands in
Emily, yes, Mom.
Tell Miss Foster I sent her my best congratulations. Can you remember that?
Yes, Mom.
You look real nice, Rebecca. Pick up your feet.
Goodbye.
Here, chick, chick, chick. Here, chick, chick, chick. Wait, you've got wait. What's the matter with you? Five. That's all you do. Where do you come from? You don't belong to me. Oh, now don't be so scared. Nobody's gonna hurt you. Oh, good morning, Myrtle. How's your cold?
Well, I still got that ticket in my throat. I told Charles to open me a choir practice tonight. I wouldn't be any use.
Have you tried singing over your voice?
Yes, but somehow I can't do that and stay on key. While I was resting myself, I thought I'd string up some of these beans.
Let me help you. Beans have been good this year.
The children say they hate them, but I noticed they're able to keep them down all winter.
Now, Myrtle, I've got to tell you something, because if I don't tell somebody, I'll burst.
Julia Gibbs?
Here, hand me some more of those beans. Myrtle, did one of those second-hand furniture men from Boston come to see you last Friday?
Oh, no.
Well, he called on me. First, I thought it was a patient wanting to see Dr. Gibbs, and he wormed his way into my parlor, and Myrtle Webb, he offered me $350 for Grandmother Wentworth's highboy as I'm sitting here.
What, Julia Gibbs?
He did, that old thing. To think it was so big, I almost gave it to Cousin Hester Wilcox.
Well, you're gonna take it, aren't you?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know, Julia. $350. What's come over you?
Well, if I get the doctor to take the money and go away someplace and take a risk, I'd settle like that. Oh, you know, Myrtle, it's always been a dream of mine to see Paris, France.
And how does the doctor feel about this?
Well, I did beat about the bush a little and said that if I ever got a legacy, that's the way I put it, that I'd make him take me somewhere.
Yes, but what did he say?
You know how he is. Every 2 years he takes a trip to the battlefields of the Civil War, and that's enough to reef for anybody, he says.
Well, Mr. Webb just admires the way Dr. Gibbs knows everything about the Civil War.
It's a fact. Dr. Gibbs is never so happy as when he's at Gettysburg. The times I've walked up with those heels, Myrtle, stopping at every bush and pacing it all out like we were gonna buy it.
Julia, those second-hand furniture men are really serious about buying. You said it. Then you get to see Paris, all right. Just keep dropping in from time to time. You know, that's how I got to see the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, I'm sorry I mentioned it. Only it seems to me once in your life before you die, you ought to see a country where they don't talk in English and don't even want to.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Now we're going to skip a few hours. I've asked Professor Willard of our State University to sketch in a few details of our past history here. Is Professor Willard? Oh, may I introduce Professor Willard of our State University? A few brief notes, thank you, Professor. Unfortunately, our time is limited.
Grover's Corners. Let me see. Grover's Corners lies on the Pleistocene granite of the Appalachian Range. I may say it's some of the oldest land in the world. We're very proud of that. A shelf of Devonian basalt crosses it with the vestiges of Mesozoic shale and some sandstone outcroppings. But that's all very recent. 200, 300 million years old. Some highly interesting fossils have been found here, and they can be seen at the museum at our university at any time. That is, any reasonable time. So shall I read some notes?
I'm afraid we won't have time for that, Professor. We might have a few words on the history of man here.
Oh, yes, indeed. Anthropological data. Cotahatchee tribes. No evidence before the 10th century. Migration towards the end of the 17th century of the blue-eyed English brachiocephalic stock, for the most part.
And the population, Professor Willard?
The population within the town limits is 2,640.
Just a moment. Professor?
Yes. Oh, yes, indeed. The population at the moment is 2,642.
Thank you, Professor. We're all very much obliged to you, I'm sure. This way. Thank you again, Professor. Now for the social report. Editor Webb. Oh, Mr. Webb.
He'll be here in a minute. He just cut his hand while he's eating an apple.
Thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Charles, everybody's waiting.
Mr. Webb is publisher and editor of our local paper, you know. Have you any comments, Mr. Webb?
Very on your time, if you ask me. Little Bear behaved the most. Probably lucked up. But our young people here seem to like well enough. 90% of them graduated from high school and settled right here to live, even after being away to college.
Now, is there anybody in the audience who would like to ask Editor Webb anything about the town?
Yes, excuse me. Is there much drinking in Grover's Corners?
Well, ma'am, I wouldn't know what you'd call much. We got 1 or 2 town drunks, but they're always having remorses every time events come to town.
Oh, what I want to know is liquor a serious problem?
No, ma'am, I'd say liquor ain't a regular thing in the home here. Except the medicine chest, right good for snake bites.
Is there anyone in town?
Oh, come forward, will you? We can all hear you. What is it you were saying?
Is there anyone in town aware of social injustice and industrial inequality?
Oh, yes, everybody is.
Then why don't they do something about it?
Oh, I don't know. We do all we can to help those who can't help themselves. And And those who can, we leave alone. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Webb, oh, Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corner?
No, ma'am, there isn't much culture. But maybe this is a place to tell you that we got a lot of places of a kind here. We like the sun coming up over the mountain in the morning. And we notice a good deal about the birds. We pay a lot of attention to them. And the change of seasons, oh yes, everybody knows about them.
So I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Now we'll go back to the town. It's early afternoon. All 2,642 have had their dinners, and all the dishes have been washed. Doc Gibbs is in his office tapping people and making them say, ah. Mr. Webb's over there mowing the lawn. People in Grover's Corners just love to mow the lawn. Oh, there are the children coming home from school.
Oh, I can't, Louis. I've got to go home and help my mother. I promise. Okay. Bye. Oh, bye, Mr. Webb.
Emily, walk with me. Who do you think you are today?
Oh, Papa, you're terrible. 1 minute you tell me to stand up straight, and the next minute you call me names. I just don't listen to you.
Wow, I've never got a kiss from such a great lady before.
Oh, excuse me. Awfully sorry, Miss Forrest. Hello, Emily.
Oh, hello.
You made a fine speech in class today.
Well, Miss Cochran made me talk about the Louisiana Purchase. I worked an awful long time on it.
Gee, it's funny, Emily. From my window up there, I can just see your head at night over in your room when you're doing your homework.
Why, can you?
You sure do stick to it. I don't see how you can sit still that long. I guess you like school.
I figure there's something a person has to go through.
Yeah.
I don't mind it really. It passes in time.
Yeah. Emily, what do you think? We might work out some kind of telegraph system from your window to mine. And once in a while, you could give me a kind of hint or two about one of those algebra problems. Oh, I don't mean the answers, Emily. Of course not, no. Just some little hint.
Oh, I think hints are allowed, so if you get stuck, George, you whistle to me and I'll give you some hints.
Oh, Emily, you're just naturally bright, I guess.
Oh, I figured that it's just the way a person's born.
Yeah. But you see, I want to be a farmer. And my Uncle Luke says that whenever I'm ready, I can come over and work in his farm. And if I'm any good, I can gradually have it.
Oh, you mean the house and everything?
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for the talk, Emily. I better get going. Afternoon, Mrs. Webb.
Good afternoon, George.
So long, Emily.
Oh, so long, George.
Emily, come over here and help me string these beans for the winter. Why, George Gibbs set himself a real conversation, didn't he? He's growing up. How old would George be?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see, he must be almost 16.
Oh, Mama, I made a speech in class today and I was very good.
You must recite it for your father at supper. What was it about?
The Louisiana Purchase. It was like silk off a spool. I'm gonna make speeches all my life. Mama, are those big enough?
Well, you try to get them bigger if you can.
Mama, will you answer me a question? Serious?
Seriously, dear, not serious.
Seriously, will you?
Of course I will.
Mama, am I good looking?
Of course you are, Emily. All my children have good features. I'd be ashamed if they hadn't.
Oh, Mama, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, am I pretty?
I've already told you, yes.
Well, Mommy never tells the truth about anything.
I am telling you the truth, Emily.
Mama, were you pretty?
Yes, I was. I was the prettiest girl in town, next to Mammy Cartwright.
Oh, but Mommy, you gotta say something about me. Am I pretty enough to get anybody? Oh, to get people interested in me.
Oh, Emily, you make me tired. Come along now. Bring that bowl with you.
Oh, Mommy, you're not helping all.
Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Now we have to interrupt again here. There are some things we want to explore about this town. I think this is a good time to tell you that we're building a new bank in Grover's Corners, putting in a cornerstone for people 1,000 years from now to dig up. A Bible, the Constitution of the United States, a copy of William Shakespeare's plays. What do you say, folks? So people 1,000 years from now will know this is the way we were. Now growing up, and now married, and now living, and now dying. Well, a good deal of time's gone by. This evening, you can hear choir practice going on in congregational church. The children are home during their schoolwork. The day is running down like a tag clock.
Let's be the time that binds our hearts in Christian love, the fellowship of kindred minds is like to dance above.
Now look here, everybody. Music comes into the world to give pleasure. Softer, softer. Get it out of your heads that music is only good when it's loud.
You leave the loudness to the Methodists. You couldn't beat them even if you wanted to. Now again, tenors.
Let's be the time that binds
Emily!
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Well, I can't work at all. The moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which?
The third.
Why, yes, George. That's the easiest of them all.
I don't see it, Emily. Could you give me a hint?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The answer's in yards.
In yards? How do you mean?
In square yards?
In square yards?
Yes, George. Don't you see?
Yeah.
In square yards of wallpaper.
Oh, wallpaper. Now I see. Thanks a lot, Emily.
You're welcome. My, isn't the moonlight just terrible? Choir practice going on. I bet if you hold your breath, you can hear the train all the way to Contuga. Hear it?
What do you know?
Oh, well, I guess I better go back and try to work.
Good night, Emily, and thanks.
Good night, George.
Each other a singing and
Now, before I forget, how many of you will be able to come in next Tuesday afternoon and sing at Fred Hirsch's wedding? Show your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and myself. That will be fine. That will be right nice. We'll do the same music we did at Jane Sharp last month. Now we'll do Art Thou Weary, Art Thou Languid. It's a question, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make it talk.
Art thou weary, art thou languid, art thou so distressed? Come to me, Saint One, and calling thee at rest. Finding, following, keeping, struggling, is he sure to bless? Saints, apostles, prophets, martyrs, as of yet.
George, could you come down here a minute?
Yes, Bob.
George, make yourself comfortable. I'll only keep you a minute. George, what do you want to do after school's over?
Why, you know, Pa, I want to be a farmer, on Uncle Luke's farm.
You'll be winning, will you? To get up early, to milk and feed the stock. To hoe and hay all day?
Sure I will, Pa. What do you mean? What are you getting at?
Well, George, I was in my office today and I heard a funny noise. Can you guess what it was? It was your mother chopping wood. I suppose she just got tired of asking. Decided it was easier to do it herself. And you eat her meals. And put on the clothes she keeps right nice for you. And then run up and make baseball. Like she's some sort of hired girl to keep around the house. But George, we don't like that very much now, do we? Well, I knew all I had to do was bring your attention to it. George, I've decided to raise your spending money 25 cents a week. Not, of course, for chopping wood for your mother, because that's the present you'll give her. But I can also imagine that there's other things you can find to do with it.
Thanks, Pa.
I wonder where your mother is. Firecrackers never ended as late as this before. I don't know why she's in that old choir. She hasn't any more voice than an old crow. Traipsing around the streets this hour of the night. Don't you think about time to retire?
Yes, Pa. Good night, Pa.
Right, son.
Good night. Good night, Martha. Good night, Mrs. Foster.
My, it's late.
Oh, good night, Irma.
Real nice firecrackers, one new murder web. Look at that moon, will ya?
Now, I didn't want to say anything with the others around, but now that we're alone, really, it's the worst scandal that ever hit this town.
What?
Simon Stimson.
Now, Luella.
But Julia, to have the organist on the church drink and drunk year after year, you know he was drunk tonight.
Now, Luella, we all know about Mr. Stimson, and we all know the trouble he's been through. And if Dr. Ferguson keeps him on there in his job, the only thing the rest of us can do is not to notice it.
Not to notice it, but it's getting worse.
Oh, now, Luella, no, it isn't. It's getting better. You know, I've been in that choir twice as long as you have, and it doesn't happen anywhere near so often.
Ma, I do hate to go to bed on a night like this.
Oh, well, those children of all hours. Good night, Luella. Good night, Julia.
Oh, good night.
Can you get home safe, Luella?
It's as bright as day. I can already see Mr. Soames scowling at the window. You'd swear we've been to a dance the way the men folk carry on.
Oh, good night, Luella.
Oh, good night, Julia.
Well, we had a real good time.
You're late enough.
Why, Frank, ain't any later than usual.
And you stopping at the corner to gossip like a lot of hens?
Now, Frank, don't be grouchy. Come out and smell the hollyhocks in the moonlight. Isn't that wonderful? What did you do all the time I was away?
Oh, I read as usual. What were the girls gossiping about tonight?
Now, believe me, Frank, there is something to gossip about.
Simon Simpson. Far gone, was he?
The worst I've ever seen him. How let in, Frank? Dr. Ferguson can't forgive him forever.
I guess I know more about Simon Simpson's affairs than anybody else in this town. I don't know how to let him, but come on, Julius. Get ready. First thing you know, you'll catch a cold.
Now, Frank, not yet. I'm worried about you.
Come on, Julius. It's getting late. First thing you know, you'll catch a cold. And I gave George a piece of my mind tonight. I reckon you'll have your wood chopped for a while anyways. No. Keep going upstairs.
Why, Frank, there's always so many things to pick up, seems like. You know, Frank, Mrs. Fairchild locks the front door every night. All those people of that part of town do.
They're all getting certified. That is the problem with them. They ain't got nothing fit to burgle, and everybody knows it.
Get out, Rebecca. There's only room for one in this window.
Well, let me just look a minute.
Use your own window.
I did, but there's no moon there. George, do you know what I think? Do you? I think the moon's getting nearer and nearer, and there'll be a big explosion.
Rebecca, you don't know anything. If the moon were getting nearer, the guys that sit up all night with telescopes would know about it first. They'd tell us. It'd be in the papers.
George, is the moon shining on South America, Canada, and half the whole world?
Well, probably is.
9:30. Most of the lights are out. Oh, no, there's Constable Warren trying to do doors on Main Street. And here comes Editor Webb after putting his newspaper to bed.
Good evening, Bill.
Evening, Mr. Webb.
Quite a moon.
Yep.
Oh, quiet tonight.
Well, Simon Stinson's rolling around us a little. I just saw his wife move out to go hunt for him, so I looked the other way. Oh, look, there he is now.
Good evening, Simon. Town seems to have settled down for the night pretty well. Good evening, Simon. Yes, most of the town settled down. Simon, I guess we're ready to do the same. Can I walk along the way with you?
Well, I don't know how that's gonna end, Mr. Webb.
Well, you've seen a peck of trouble, one thing after another. Oh, Bill, you see my boy smoking cigarettes? Just give him a word, will ya? He thinks a lot of you, Bill.
Oh, Mr. Webb, I don't think he smokes no cigarettes. At least not more than 2, 3 a year.
Well, I hope not. Good night, Bill.
Good night, Mr. Webb.
Who's that up there? Is that you, Myrtle?
No, it's me, Papa.
Why are you out of bed?
I don't know. I just can't sleep yet. The moonlight's so wonderful. And the smell of Mrs. Gibbs's hollyhocks. Well, can you smell it?
Haven't any troubles in your mind, Emily?
Troubles, Papa? No.
Okay. Well, enjoy yourself. But don't let your mother catch you. Good night, Emily.
Good night, Papa.
Jane Crowfoot got a letter from a minister into a sick. On the envelope, the address was like this. It said, Jane Crowfoot, the Crowfoot Farm, Grover's Corner, Sutton County, New Hampshire, United States of America.
What's funny about that?
But listen, it's not finished. United States of America, continent of North America, the Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the solar system, the mind of God. That's what it said on the envelope.
What do you know?
And the postman bought it just the same.
What do you know?
That is the end of the first act, friends. You can go have a glass of wine for those of you that are allowed. 30 minutes. Some babies that weren't even born before have begun talking regular sentences already. And a number of young people who thought they were right young and spry have realized that they can't climb up a flight of stairs like they used to without their heart fluttering a little. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Almost everybody in the world gets married. Most everybody climbs into their graves married. The first act was called The Daily Life. This act is called Love and Marriage. There's another act coming after this. I reckon you can guess what that's about. So, it's 3 years later, 1904, July. That's the time most of our young people jump up and get married. It's early in the morning. Only this time, it's been raining. Oh, it's been pouring and thundering. Mrs. Gibbs's garden, Mrs. Webb's here, drenched. All yesterday over there on Main Street, the rain looked like curtains being blown along. Maybe get any minute. Oh, there, you can hear the 545 from Boston. There's Mrs. Gibbs and Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to make breakfast, just as though it were an ordinary day. Now, I don't have to point out to the women in my audience that those ladies that they see before them cooked 3 meals a day, one of them for 20 years and the other for 40, and no summer vacation. They raised 2 children apiece, cooked, cleaned the house, and never a nervous breakdown. It's like what one of those Middle West poets say. You've got to love life to have life, and you've got to have life to love life. It's what they call a vicious circle.
Yeah, Bessie.
Oh, here comes Howard Newsom delivering the milk. And there's Si Crowd delivering the paper like his brother before him.
Morning, Howie.
Morning, Sam. Anything in the papers I ought to know?
Nothing much, except we're losing about the best baseball pitcher Grover's Corners ever had, George Gibbs.
Reckon he is.
He could hit around bases, too.
Yep. Whoa, Bessie. I can say the talk about mine, too.
I don't see how he could give up a thing like that just to get married. Would you, Howie?
Can't tell, Sam. Never had no talent that way. You're up early, Bill.
Seeing if there's anything I can do to prevent a flood. The river's been rising all night. Howie, how does the weather look to you?
Oh, tain't bad. Think it'll clear up for good.
Good morning, Howie.
Do you think it's gonna rain again?
Morning, Mrs. Gibbs. Oh, it rain's so heavy, I think it'll clear up.
Certainly hope it will.
How much did you want today?
Well, I'm gonna have a house relations, Howard. Looks to me I'll need 3 milk and 2 cream.
Well, my wife says to tell you how we both hope they'll be very happy, Mrs. Gibbs. No, they will.
Thanks a lot, Howie. Tell your wife I hope she gets there to the wedding.
Oh, yeah, she'll be there. She'll be there if she can. Morning, Mrs. Webb.
Good morning, Mr. Newsom. I told you 4 quarts of milk, but I do hope you can spare me another.
Yes, and the 2 cream?
Will you stop ringing again, Mr. Newsom?
Well, just telling Mrs. Gibbs over there is how it may lighten up. Mrs. Newsom told me to tell you how we both hope they'll be very happy, Mrs. Webb. No, they will.
Thank you, and thank Mrs. Newsom. And we'll count on seeing you at the wedding.
Oh, yes, we'll be there. We couldn't miss that. Let's get going now, miss. Step back.
Well, Ma, the day has come. You're losing one of your chicks.
Frank, Gibbs, don't you say another word. I feel like crying every minute. Oh, sit down and drink your coffee.
The groom's upstairs shaving himself. Only there ain't an awful lot to shave. Whistling and singing like he's glad to leave us. Every now and then saying, I do to the mirror. Don't sound very convincing to me, though.
I declare, Frank, I don't know how he'll get along. I've arranged his clothes and seen to his perform things on, but, oh, Frank, they're too young. Emily won't think of such things, and he'll catch his death of cold within a week.
Julia, I was remembering our wedding.
Don't stop that, Frank Gibbs.
I was the scarce young fella in the state of New Hampshire. I thought I made a mistake for sure. When I saw you coming down that aisle, I thought you were the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. Problem was I'd never seen her before. There I was, in a congregational church, married to a total stranger.
How do you think I felt? Frank, weddings are perfectly awful things. Farces, that's what they are. Here, I made you something.
Woo! Julia has eaten French toast.
Tain't ought to make it, I had to do something.
How'd you sleep last night, Julia?
Did hear a lot of the hours struck off.
Yes, I get a shock too every time I think of George setting out to be a family man. That great gangling thing.
Yes, people are meant to go through life 2 by 2. Tain't natural to lonesome.
Julia, do you know one of the things I was scared of when I first married you?
Go along with you.
I was scared we wouldn't have any conversational material to last more than a few weeks. That's a fact. Well, we've been conversing now for 20 years without any noticeable aspect.
Well, good weather, bad weather. Tain't very choice, but I always found something to say. Oh, did you hear Rebecca stirring around upstairs?
She's in her room. I get the impression that she's crying.
For God's sake, this has got to stop. Rebecca, come down and eat your breakfast.
Good morning, everybody. Only 5 more hours to live.
George Gibbs, where are you going?
Just stepping across to see my girl.
Now, George, you put on your overshoes. It's raining torrents. You don't go out of this house without you're prepared for it.
Mom, it's just a step.
Now, George, you catch a death of cold and cough all through the service.
George, as your mother tell you.
From tomorrow on, you can kill yourself in all weathers. But while you're in my house, you live wisely, thank you. Maybe Mrs. Webson used to call us at 7 in the morning. Here, take a cup of coffee first.
Be back in a minute.
George!
Afternoon, Mrs. Webb.
Goodness, you frightened me, George. Now, you can come in a moment out of the wet, but you know I can't ask you in.
Oh, why not?
George, you know the rule as well as I do. The groom can't see the bride on the wedding day, not before he sees her in the church.
That's just a superstition. Morning, Mr. Webb.
Good morning, George.
Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that superstition, do you?
There's a lot of common sense in some superstitions, George.
How's Emily?
Well, she hasn't waked up yet.
Emily's asleep.
No wonder. We were up till all hours sewing and packing. Now, I'll tell you what I'll do. You sit down here a moment, Mr. Webb, and drink some coffee. I'll go upstairs and she still come down to surprise you. There's bacon too if you want it, but don't be long about it.
Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in a superstition like that?
The girls have to be a bit nervous on the wedding day, George.
I just wish a fella could get married without all that marching up and down.
Every man that's ever lived has felt this way about it, George. It's the women full of weddings, my boy. A man looks pretty small in the wedding.
But you do believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh, yes, don't you misunderstand me, George. Marriage is a wonderful thing, wonderful thing. And don't you forget that, George.
Mr. Webb, how old were you when you got married?
Oh, age has got much to do with it. Not compared with other things.
Other things? What were you going to say, Mr. Webb?
Oh, I don't know. Was I going to say something? George, I was thinking the other night. So my father gave me out a man. Charles, he said, Charles, start out young, show him who's boss, he said. Best thing to do is give an order, even if it don't make sense, just so she'll learn to obey. And he said, if anything about your wife irritates you, for conversation or anything, just get up and leave the house. That'll make kids, he said. And he said, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Oh, Mr. Webb, I don't think I could. That's just
So I took the opposite of my father's advice, and I've been happy ever since. And let me listen to you, George. Never ask advice for personal matters.
No, sir. No, Mr. Webb.
George, are you going to raise chickens on your farm?
What?
Are you going to raise chickens on your farm?
Well, Uncle Luke's never been much interested.
I'm thinking of beginning in a small way in the backyard. Get a pretty incubator myself.
Charles, are you talking about that old incubator again? I thought you two would be talking about things worthwhile.
Well, Myrtle, if you want to give the boys some good advice, I'll go upstairs and leave you two alone.
George, Emily's got to come downstairs and eat breakfast. She sends you her love, but she doesn't want to lay eyes on you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Webb. We all know how it is. You're 21 or 22, then wish you're 70. You've been a lawyer for 50 years, and that white-haired lady at your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such things begin? George and Emily are going to show you now the conversation they first had, when they first knew that as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. But before they do, I want you to try and remember what it was like to have been very young, and particularly the days when you were first in love, when you were like a person sleepwalking. You're just a little bit crazy. Will you remember that? Please? Now, George and Emily will be coming out of high school at 3 o'clock. George has just been elected president of the junior class, and Emily's been elected secretary and treasurer. I don't have to tell you how important that is. Oh, there they are coming down Main Street now.
Oh, I can't believe I've got to go home. Goodbye. Oh, Ernestine, can you come over tonight and do Latin?
Can I carry your books home for you, Emily?
Why, thank you, it isn't far.
Excuse me, just one moment, Emily. Say, Bob, if I'm a little late for practice, start anyways.
Oh, goodbye, Lizzie.
Goodbye, Lizzie. Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked me, I might as well say it right out, George. Oh, goodbye, Miss
Goodbye, Miss
Corcoran.
Corcoran. What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you in the past year. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I've got to. Tell the truth and shame the devil.
A change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot. I used to watch you as you did everything. Because we've been friends so long. But then you began spending all your time at baseball, and you never stopped to speak to anybody anymore. Not even to your family you didn't, George. It's a fact you've got awful conceited and stuck up, and all the girls say so, and they may not say that to your face, but that's what they say behind your back, and it hurts me to hear them say it, but I've got to agree with them a little. Now, I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I can't be sorry I said it.
I'm glad you said it, Emily. I never thought such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fella not to have faults creep into his character.
Well, I always expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is. As far as I can see, your father is. There's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be too.
Why, I feel it's the other way around. That boys aren't naturally perfect, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. It's not as easy for a girl to be as perfect as a man because we girls are more nervous. Now, I'm sorry I said all that about you. I don't know what made me say it, and I suddenly feel that it isn't important anyway.
Emily, would you like to get an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Well, thank you, I would.
Hello, Stu. How are you? Afternoon, Miss Sullivan.
Hello, George. Hello, Emily. What do you have? Oh, why, Emily Webb, what have you been crying about?
But she just got an awful scare, Mr. Morgan, that's all.
Well now, you take a drink of water, Emily. You look all shook up. What do you have?
Oh, I have a strawberry phosphate. Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
No, Emily. Have an ice cream soda with me. 2 ice cream sodas, please, Mr. Morgan.
2 ice cream sodas, yes, sir. There they are. Enjoy them. Oh, yes, Mrs. Ellis. What can I do you for?
They're so expensive.
No, don't think of that. We're celebrating our election. And you do know what else I'm celebrating?
No.
I'm celebrating because I got a friend who tells me all the things I ought to be told.
Oh, George, please don't think of that. I don't know what made me say it. It's not true.
No, Emily. You stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me like you did. But you see, I'm going to change so quick, you bet I'm going to change. And, Emily, could I ask you a favor?
What?
If I do go away to agricultural college next year, would you write me a letter once in a while?
Oh, I certainly will. I certainly will, George. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. Grover's Corners isn't a very important place, but I think it's a very nice town.
Oh, Emily, the day wouldn't come when I wouldn't want to know everything that's happening here. I know that's true.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to agricultural college, to be a good farmer.
Why, George?
Yeah, and some of them even say it's a waste of time. And Uncle Luke's getting old, you know. He's about ready for me to take over the farm tomorrow, if I could.
My.
And like you say, being gone all that time, meeting other people in other places, Emily, I feel you're as good as a friend as I've got. And I don't need to go away to new people and new towns.
Oh, but George, maybe it's very important for you to go and learn all about cattle judging and soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily, I'll make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
Why, George, I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me about that fault in my character. What you said was right, but there was one thing wrong in it. And that was when you said for a year I wasn't noticing anybody. And you, for instance, why do you say you were watching me as I did everything? Well, I was doing the same about you all the time. I always made sure who you were sitting with on the beaches, and for 3 days now I've been trying to walk home with you. But something has always gotten in the way. Like yesterday, you walked home with Miss Corcoran.
Why, George, that's awful funny. How could I have known that? Why, I thought...
Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going away to college. I think that once you've met a person you're very fond of, and a person who's very fond of you too, and likes you enough to be interested in your character, well, I think that's just as important as college, even more so. That's what I think.
Well, I think it's awfully important too.
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be, could you be?
I am now. I always have been.
So I guess this is an important talk we've been having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Wait just a minute and I'll walk you home. Oh, Mr. Morgan, I'm sorry. I'll have to go home and get the money for this. It'll only take a minute.
What's that, George Gibbs? Do you mean to tell me?
No, sir, but I had my reasons. Look, take my watch until I come back with the money.
That's all right. Keep your watch, George. I'll trust you.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
I'll trust you 10 years, George, but not a day over. Got all over your shock, Emily.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Morgan. It was nothing.
I'm ready.
Well, now we're ready to get on with the wedding. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I'll play the minister in this wedding, and that gives me the right to say a few more things about it. For a while now, this play gets pretty serious. This is a good wedding, but even at a good wedding, there's confusion way down deep in people's minds, and we thought that ought to be in our play too. Well, that's all my sermon. Wasn't very long anyway.
Don't know why on earth I should be crying. Suppose there's nothing to cry about. Came over me this morning. There was Emily, eating her breakfast as she's done for 17 years. Now she's going off to live in somebody else's house. Suppose that's it. Emily, she suddenly said, I can't eat another mouthful, Joe. Put her head down on the table and she cried. I've got to say it. You know, there's something downright cruel about sending our girls into marriage this way. I hope some of her girlfriends have told them a thing or two. It's cruel, I know, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything. I went into it blind as a bat myself. The whole world's wrong. That's what's the matter. Here they come.
George? Oh, George, what's the matter?
Oh, Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everybody pushing me so?
Why, George, you wanted it.
No, Ma, just listen.
No, George, you're a man now.
Ma, for the last time I asked you. All I want to do is be a fella.
Nobody should hear you. Now stop. Well, I'm ashamed of you.
Where's Emily?
She gave me such a turn.
Cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married. Now, Ma, you save Thursday nights. Emily and I are coming over every Thursday night for dinner. You'll see, Ma. Come on, cheer up. We gotta get ready for this.
Emily.
Oh, Papa.
Don't get upset.
But Papa, I don't want to get married.
Everything's alright.
Why can't I stay for a while just as I am? Let's go away.
No. Now stop and think a minute.
Oh, don't you remember you used to say all the time, you used to say that I was your girl. There must be lots of places we can go to. I can work
No.
for you, I can keep house.
You mustn't think of such things, Emily. You're just nervous. George? George, will come here a minute. Why, you're marrying the best young fellow in the world. George is a fine fellow.
Papa.
George, I'm giving away my daughter. Do you think you take care of her?
Mr. Webb, Emily, I want to. I want to try, Emily. I love you. I need you.
Well, if you love me, help me. All I want is someone to love me.
I'll do my best, Emily. I'll try.
I mean forever, do you hear? Forever and ever.
I know everything will be alright. They're waiting for us. Come quick.
Do you, George, take this woman Emily to be your wedded wife, to have and to hold?
Perfectly lovely wedding. Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a good wedding, don't you? Doesn't she just make a lovely bride?
I do.
Do you, Emily, take this man George to be your wedded husband, to have and to hold?
Oh, what I do love a good wedding. I always cry. I don't know why, but I always cry. I just love seeing young people happy. Oh, I think it's lovely.
Oh, I do.
I've married over 200 couples in my day. Do I believe in it? I don't know. The cottage, the go-kart, Sunday afternoon drives in the port, the first rheumatism, the grandchildren, the second rheumatism, the deathbed, the reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times. It's interesting. Well, let's have Mendelssohn's Wedding March.
Look at them. They make such a lovely couple. I'm sure they'll be happy. You know, that's what I always say. Happiness. The important thing is to be happy.
That is the end of the second act, friends. 10 minutes intermission. Don't go too far. This time, 9 years has gone by, friends. Summer 1913. This, certainly an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop, a windy hilltop. Lots of sky, lots of clouds, often lots of sun, moon, and stars. Come up here on a fine afternoon and you can see range on range of hills. Quite a ways down is Grover's Corners. Yes, it's a beautiful spot up here. Over there are the old stones, 1670, 1680. Over there are some Civil War veterans, iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys. And all they knew was the name, friends. The United States of America. The United States of America. And they went and died about it. Here's your friend, Mrs. Gibbs, and let me see. Mr. Stimson, organist of the Congregational Church. Oh, Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding so much. You remember? And there's Editor Webb's boy, Wallace. His appendix burst when he was on a Boy Scout trip. Yes, just wild with grief have brought their relatives up on this hill. We all know how it is. We're all happy they're in a beautiful place, and we're coming up here too when our fit's over. Now, there are some things we all know. We all know, in our bones, that something is eternal. And it ain't houses, and it ain't names. It ain't earth, and it ain't even the stars. We all know, in our bones, that something is eternal. And that something has to do with human beings. Something way down deep that's eternal about every human being. You know as well as I do that the dead don't stay interested in us living for very long. They get weaned away. That's the way I like to put it. Weaned away. They wait. They wait for something they feel is coming. Something important. Something great. Well, there are some living people. That's Joe Stoddard, our undertaker, supervising a new-made grave. Oh, and here comes a Grover's Corners boy who left town to go out west.
Good afternoon, Joe Stoddard. Oh. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Let me see now. Do I know you? Why, I'm Sam Craig. Gracious sakes, alive of all people. I should get back to the funeral, Samuel. Been away a long time.
Yes, I've been away over 12 years. I'm in business out in Buffalo now, Joe, but I was in the East when I got news of my cousin's death. So I thought I'd combine things a little, come see the old home. You look well.
Ah, shucks. Yes, can't complain. But very sad during the day, Samuel.
Yes.
Oh, wow, I just hate to supervise when a young person gets taken. They'll be here in a few minutes now.
What? This is my Aunt Julia. I'd forgotten that she... Oh, of course.
Yes, Doc Gibbs lost his wife 2, 3 years ago, around this time. So today's a pretty bad blow for him, too.
That's my sister Carrie's boy, Sam. Sam Craig.
I'm always uncomfortable when they're around.
Simon.
Do they choose their own verses much, Joe?
Nope, not usual. Most of them read pick a verse.
He was organist at the church, wasn't he?
Yep.
Drank a lot, we used to say.
Well, Simon Stimson seen a peck of trouble in his life. Chose his own epitaph, though it ain't a verse much exactly.
What? It's just some mountain music. What is it?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Joe, what did she die of?
Who?
My cousin.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, she had some trouble bringing a baby to this world. It was a second, though. This little boy, about 4 years old. Excuse me now. I see they come.
Who is it, Julia?
My daughter-in-law, Emily Webb.
Well, I declare, the road up here must have been awful muddy. What did she die of?
In childbirth.
Childbirth. My, wasn't life awful? yet wonderful.
Wonderful, was it?
Simon, now remember.
Oh, I remember Emily's wedding. And wasn't it a lovely wedding? And I remember her reciting the class poem and graduation exercises. She was the brightest girl ever graduated from high school. I've heard Principal Wilkins say so time after time. I visited them at their farm just before I died. Perfectly beautiful farm.
It's on the same road we lived on.
Yeah, right smart farm.
I always liked that hymn. I was hoping they'd sing a hymn.
Hello. Hello, Emily.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Mother Gibbs.
Emily.
Hello. Oh, it's raining.
Yes. They'll be gone soon, dear. Just rest yourself.
It seems thousands of years since Papa remembers that that was my favorite hymn. Oh, I wish I'd been here a long time. I don't like being new here. How do you do, Mr. Stimson?
How do you do, Emily?
Oh, Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm into just the best place you ever saw. Well, we thought of you the whole time. We wanted to show you the new barn and the great long cement drinking fountain for the stock. But we bought that out of the money left us.
I did?
Yes, Mother Gibbs. Don't you remember the legacy you left us?
I was over
$350.
Yes. Yes, Emily.
What we say to George now is that it's a lovely farm. A lot of people don't understand, do they?
No, dear, not very much.
They're sort of shut up in little boxes, aren't they? I feel as though I last seen them 1,000 years ago. Oh, my boy's been in the day at Mrs. Carter's. Oh, Mrs. Carter, my little boy's been in the day at your house.
Is he?
Yes. Oh, he loves it there. Mother Gibbs, when does this feeling go away? Being one of them, how long does it?
Shh, dear. Just wait and be patient.
I know. Look, they're finished. They're going.
Shh.
Look, Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you. He looks just like George, doesn't he? Mother Gibbs, I never realized before how troubled and how in the dark loud persons are. Oh, look at him. I loved him so. From morning till night, that's all they are. Just troubled.
Yes, some have tried, but they soon come back here.
Don't do it, Emily.
Oh, Emily, don't. It's not what you think it would be. I won't live over a sad day. I'll choose a happy day. Choose a day after first knew I love George. Why should that be painful?
You not only live it, but you watch yourself living it.
Yes.
And as you watch it, you see the thing that they down there never know. see the future. You know what's going to happen afterwards.
But is that painful? Why?
It's not the only reason why I shouldn't do it, Emily. When you've been here longer, you'll see that our life here is to forget all that and think only of what's ahead, be ready for what's ahead. When you've been here longer, you'll understand.
But Mother Gibbs, how can I ever forget that life? It's all I know. It's all I have.
Well, Emily, really,
It isn't wise. But it's a thing I must choose for myself. Choose a happy day anyway.
no. Please, choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day in your life. Oh, it'll be important enough.
But it can't be since I married George, or since the baby was born. But I can choose a birthday at least, can I? Oh, I choose my 12th birthday.
All right, 11 February 1899. Do you want any special time of day?
Oh, I want the whole day.
We'll begin at dawn. You remember it had been snowing for several days, but it had stopped the night before. They'd begun clearing the roads. The sun's coming up.
Oh, wow, there's Main Street. Oh, and there's the Smoovitz drugstore before he changed it. Oh, and there's the livery stable.
Yes, it's 1899. This is 14 years ago.
Oh, that's the town I knew as a little girl. Oh, look, there's the old white fence that used to be around our house. Oh, I'd forgotten that. Oh, how I love it so. Are they inside?
Yes, your mother will be coming downstairs in a minute to make breakfast.
Will she?
Whoa, Bessie. Bessie?
Oh, look, there's Howie Newsom. There's our policeman, but he's dead. He died.
Morning, Bill.
Morning, Howard.
You're up early.
I was called up this morning to rescue a party. Darn near posted that down by the Polish-town yard. God run from there out in the snowdrifts. Thought he was in bed when I shook him.
Why there's no crowd?
Good morning, Harry. Good morning, Miss Ward. Children, Wally, Emily, it's time to get up.
Oh, Mama, I'm here. How young Mama looks. I didn't know Mama was ever that young.
You can come and dress by the kitchen fire if you like, but hurry.
Mrs. Webb.
Good morning, Mr. Newsom. Oh,
Tend a little my bone, Mrs. Webb.
think of it. Keep yourself wrapped
I
up.
will.
Oh, Mama, I can't find my blue hair ribbons anywhere.
Just open your eyes, dear, that's all. I laid out for you special on the dresser there. Was naked would bite you.
Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Mr. Webb. You're up early.
Yep.
I was called up this morning to rescue a Polish fella. Darn near froze to death, he was.
It was put in the paper.
'Twain't much.
Papa.
Good morning, Mother.
How'd it go, Charles?
Yeah, it was cold, but paper have any mistakes in it?
None that I noticed. Coffee's ready when you want it. Charles, don't forget, it's Emily's birthday.
Oh, yeah, I got something here. But where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl? Where's my birthday girl?
Don't interrupt me now,
where's my
Charles. You can see
birthday
her at
girl?
breakfast. She's slow enough as it is. Children, now I don't want to call you again.
Oh, I can't bear it. You're so young and beautiful. Why did they ever have to get old? Mama, I'm here. I'm grown up. I love you all. Everything. I can't look at everything hard enough. Good morning, Mama.
Oh, well now, dear, a very happy birthday to you and many happy returns. There are some surprises waiting for you on the dresser.
Well, Mommy shouldn't have. Oh, I can't.
But birthday or no birthday, I want you to eat this breakfast good and slow. It'll keep you warm on a cold day. Now, this in the blue paper is something from Aunt Carrie. And I reckon you can guess who brought this postcard album. George Gibbs. It's right nice of him.
Oh, George. I've forgotten that.
So we'll chew this bacon good and slow.
Oh, Mama. Just look at me for a moment as though you really saw me, Mama. 14 years have gone by. I'm dead. Your grandmother, Mama. I married George Gibbs. But dead too. His appendix burst in a camping trip to North Conway. We felt just terrible about it. Don't you remember? Oh, but now, just for a moment now that we're together, just for a moment, now that we're happy, let's look at one another.
Now, this in the yellow paper is something I found in the attic. What's your grandmother's things? You're old enough to wear it now. I thought you'd like it.
Mama, it's beautiful and it's just what I wanted.
Oh, I hoped you'd like it. I hunt it all over. I had to send for it all the way from Boston. Wally made something for you too in manual training class. He's very proud of it. Do make a fuss about it. Your father has a surprise for you too. Don't know what it is myself. Here he comes.
Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't go on. It goes so fast. We don't have time to look at one another. I didn't realize so all that was going on. And we never noticed. Oh, take me back, up the hill of my brain. First wait, one more look. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners. Mama and Papa. Goodbye, clock sticking it. And Mama's sunflowers. Food and coffee. And new iron dresses and hot baths. And sleeping. And waking up again. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it? Every minute.
No. Saints and poets, maybe. They do some.
I'm ready to go back.
Were you happy?
No. I should have listened to them. That's all human beings are, just blind people.
Look, it's clear now. The stars are coming out.
Oh, Mrs. Stimson, I should have listened to them.
Yes. Now you know. Now you know. That's what it was like to be alive. To move it about a cloud of ignorance. To go up and down, trampling on the feelings of those about you. To spend and waste time as though you had 1,000,000 years, and to always be at the mercy of one self-centered passion or another. That's the happy existence you wanted to go back to. Ignorance and blindness.
Simon Stimson, that ain't the whole truth and you know it.
Emily, look at that star. I forget his name.
My boy, Joe, was a sailor. Knew them all. He used to sit out on the porch evenings and say them all by name. Yes, sir. Wonderful.
A star's mighty good company.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Here's one of them coming.
Mother Gibbs? It's George.
Here, just rest yourself.
my boy, Joe, who knew the stars. He used to say it took 1,000,000 years for that speck of light to get to Earth. It didn't seem like nobody would believe him, but that's what he used to say. Millions of years.
He ought to be home. Mother Gibbs?
Yes, Emily?
They don't understand. Do they?
No, dear. They don't understand.
Most everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners. There are a few lights on. There are the stars. They're in their old crisscross journeys in the sky. Scholars haven't settled the matter yet, but they seem to think that there are no other living beings out there. Only this one world, straining away all its time to try and make something of itself. Strained so bad that every 16 hours, everybody lies down and gets a rest. 11 o'clock in Grover's Corners. You get a good rest too. Good night.